Hi guys, welcome to KikiSimLive. My name is Kiki and this video will be part of a tutorial series where I'll be modeling some custom content for the character Lara Croft from Shadow of the Tomb Raider in stages. So today we're going to start off with her hair. So to start off this project, I'm just creating a turnaround picture that I can use as a guide in Blender later. So I'm just in Photoshop, and as you can see, I've created a view of the sim, as you will see here in Blender, from all four sides, so front, left, right, back. And over that, I'm just going to draw the hair as a guide, so I'll have it from all four views when I'm in Blender later on. And I'm going to create a more simplified version of it rather than the picture that you see here. She's staring a bit weird out of her eyes in this one, but it's really just for a front view of the hair, and that's what this picture is perfect for. But as you can see, I'm not drawing individual strands, I'm more drawing clumps of hair because I'm going for that Max's Match look or clayified look. So there won't be any individual strands of hair, as you can see here. It's a bit more abstract, a bit more simplified, but I am trying to capture the essence of the hairstyle. So basically a ponytail with some side swept bangs with lots of side floofs peeking out everywhere, because Lara has a tough life, guys. She's fighting jaguars, climbing trees, fighting bad guys, falling off cliffs. It's a hard life. So I'm just starting on the left side, her left side, as we see it, her right side, for the side drawing of her hair. And I've also just created a copy of the front side because I really need everything to line up. As you can see, I've got a grid behind there, and as far down as a certain lock of hair comes, I need to keep that in mind for all four sides. I'm trying to get it as accurate as possible. As you can see, I'm just using a third-party app called Hej Stylus, and that is just for brush stroke smoothing, because Photoshop does actually have this function itself with one of the newer updates. I think that update is already quite old now, but you have to have a certain amount of miraculous specs on your computer to be able to use that function. And my computer doesn't have that. So I'm using a third-party app called Hej Stylus. Personally, I've fallen out of love with Photoshop because they did that, because why do I need these amazing specs to use brushstroke smoothing? It's not really a function that should require that. I mean, Hej Stylus does it. And in Blender, you've got a brushstroke smoother as well. And they don't need magical specs, so I don't really understand why. But Hej Stylus is great if you're like me and your computer is not the most amazing one in the world, even though for me personally, I do think that my computer is very amazing. I could definitely not go without. Then you could use Hej Stylus. I'm definitely very happy with the app. It is paid, you do have to pay for it. But for me, it's been worth every penny. I've also created some hair that come down from the neck, because in the picture you could see there were a lot of individual strands that are flying loose from her ponytail, and she has a tough life, as I said before, so she's definitely going to have that hair falling out. I mean, personally, I live a relatively very calm life, and I can never get the hairs in my neck to stay in my ponytail, ever. No amount of hairspray, no amount of bobby pins. It just doesn't wanna. So I think I want to try and see what it looks like if I have those side locks in the neck as well. I'm not quite sure if it will work. We'll see what it looks like in Blender. It might just, the clumps of hair might just be a little bit too rough and rude for this look. But I'm going to try it. We'll see what it looks like later on. As you can see, I've also colored in between the lines, given it a brown color. And not that that's necessary, but it just helps to, you know, as a placeholder, it helps to define it as a shape. I made a big mistake here, actually. Instead of starting a new layer, I'm drawing over my side guide. So I've basically taken what I've just drawn for the other side and taken it over to the other side. That's a lot of other sides. Because, again, I wanted to use it as a guide for where the locks of hair end, as far as they come down or as far as they go to the side. But I'm drawing on the same layer, so now I'm having to erase the previous guide, so it would have definitely been a lot handier if I started a new layer, but I didn't. That was a bit silly, but hey, I fixed it, it's fine. It's just extra work. and then I'm just going to fill that with a color as well. So I'm just trying to emphasize how handy it is if you're trying to be as accurate as possible in your alignment in this turnaround picture, just because I found that modeling from a 2D image into 3D, in 3D space, there will always be things that don't match up as you had it imagined on your 2D picture. Like, I don't know why that would be, like maybe perspective comes into play, I'm not sure, but there will always be just a little bit of a margin of disalignment. So to be as accurate as possible right now will definitely help later on when you're already dealing with that adjustments to going from 2D to 3D. So now we're just going to go into the Sims 4 Studio. I'm going to grab a ponytail hairstyle from which I'm going to steal the hairline itself, just because the hairline falls on a certain spot on the UV map, and even though there is no texture on there, that UV map does fall over the material of the sim, which is the skin. And if that is not in the exact space of where it sits on the forehead, obviously if you would have it on a different place on the skin, then that would look odd. It would have like loads of seams on there. So, which is why I'm opting not to create my own hairline, because I'd have no idea how to get it exactly in that spot, so you're not going to see any seams. So I'm just going to steal this one. I'm going to use one to model from, which I probably won't end up using because I'll wreck it in accidentally when I'm modeling, but I'll create like a billion backups, so not to worry. So after I've just parted the hairline from the rest of the hair, I'm going to delete the rest of the hair because we're not going to be using that, we'll be creating our own. And then we're just going to add the background image that we just created to our workspace. So if you press N, you get that side menu there, and then you can upload these images, and then just make sure that you select it to a certain view. So this will be the front view, and then you can adjust the size and the Y and the X axes to align it perfectly. And the handy thing is I do have the image of the actual sim behind there, so it makes it just a little bit easier to align, because right now, for instance, you can see that her boob was sticking out the side, so obviously it's not aligned. So, but now it is, and then you just repeat that process for all views. So this will be the right side view, and we just add the turnaround picture, and you can just change between views on your numpad. 1, 3, what was the other one? Oh yeah, Control 3 to have the other side, or Control 1 to have the back side. And if you don't have a numpad like me, then you can just emulate that in your settings, and then you can just use the numbers on your keyboard itself. Well, I guess a numpad is also a keyboard, but just the row of numbers at the top of your keyboard rather than the numpad. So we're just adding the image to the last view, the back view, and in the next part I'll be meshing the hair itself, so I hope you'll join me for the next part. Have a lovely day, see you later, and bye-bye!